Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast channel.
Great to be diving in today.
Have you ever felt that push and pull? One day you feel like you can take on anything, and the next, well, just getting started feels like a huge hurdle.
Oh, absolutely. That inconsistency, it's very human.
Today we're exploring exactly that, the world of self-confidence.
It's such a core part of our experience, isn't it? That inner sense of belief, or sometimes the lack of it.
Definitely. And if you've ever felt like you're not quite enough or you hesitate to speak up, you're really not alone. It's something many, many people grapple with.
It really is. And if this topic resonates with you, if you're looking for insights into your own well-being, we'd, love for you to subscribe.
Yeah, and please do leave comments, share your thoughts, ask questions as we get deeper into this.
We want this to be a conversation.
So our plan today is to really dig into where confidence comes from, or sometimes why it feels absent, and look at some practical brain-based ways to build it up.
Sounds good. Where should we start? The foundations.
Let's do that. What are the psychological roots? What shapes our confidence? Often from way back.
Well, the first thing to get is that low confidence isn't some kind of personal failing. It's usually learned. It grows out of our experiences.
Okay. Like what kind of experiences?
Think about early life. Consistent criticism during childhood, for example. If you constantly hear you're not doing it right or you're not good enough, that sinks in.
Right. That becomes the inner voice, almost.
Exactly. Or emotional neglect. Maybe your feelings weren't acknowledged or your needs seemed unimportant. You might learn subconsciously that you don't really matter that much.
Oof. Yeah, I can see how that would diminish your sense of worth.
It really can. And then there's trauma. We talk about big T trauma, major events, but also little t traumas.
Like more subtle, ongoing things.
Yes, exactly. Chronic stress, difficult family dynamics, things like that. Both kinds can create this underlying sense of fear or shame, making it hard to feel truly safe and confident.
And perfectionism. I imagine that ties in.
Big time. If your self-worth is totally tied to being flawless, you're setting yourself up for constant anxiety because nobody's flawless. Confidence becomes conditional.
So you're always chasing something unattainable.
Precisely. And finally, there's relying too much on external validation. If you always need praise from others to feel okay, you never really develop that inner core of self-approval.
So confidence is really about inner safety, not about being loud or boastful, but feeling secure inside.
That's it exactly. It's inner safety. When you lack that, your brain is constantly scanning for danger, for potential rejection, instead of seeing opportunities. It's a very different way of moving through the world.
Okay, that distinction feels really important. Inner safety, not just outward show. Let's talk about the brain then. What's actually happening neurologically when we feel confident or not?
Yeah, the neuroscience is fascinating. You've got the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's smoke detector, the fear center. It's designed to react to threats. But sometimes, especially if there's a history of trauma or difficult experiences, it becomes hypersensitive to social threats.
Like criticism,
Yeah.
or just the possibility of rejection.
Exactly. Things that might seem minor to someone else can trigger a really strong fear response in the amygdala. It basically screams danger.
And that overrides logical thinking.
It can, yeah. The amygdala can kind of hijack the prefrontal cortex. That's the part responsible for rational thought, planning, impulse control.
So the alarm bells are ringing too loud to think straight.
You got it. And that fuels the inner critic. That toxic self-doubt starts spiraling. See, I told you it was risky. You're going to fail.
Wow. So healing or building confidence involves calming that system down, restoring some balance.
Precisely. It's about helping the brain feel safer, reducing the perception of constant threat so that rational thought and, well, confidence can actually come online more easily.
Okay, so it's not just about thinking differently, it's about changing the brain's state.
Fundamentally, yes. The state enables the thought.
You mentioned earlier that confidence isn't built overnight, but through safe repetition. Can you unpack that a bit more? What does that mean?
Sure. Our brains are prediction machines. They're constantly trying to guess what's going to happen next based on past experiences. It's called predictive coding.
So if past experiences in, say, public speaking were bad, my brain predicts future ones will be bad too.
Exactly. It flags it as potentially dangerous or negative. The key is to gently challenge those predictions by creating small, manageable experiences where you try something slightly outside your comfort zone and it goes okay. Or even if it doesn't go perfectly, you survive it, you handle it.
So you're giving the brain new data.
Precisely. Each time you take a small, brave step, maybe speaking up for just a moment in a meeting, or sending that email you were nervous about and you experience safety or at least manageability, you're starting to update the brain's predictions.
Like a neural update.
Exactly. It starts to learn, okay, maybe this isn't always a catastrophe. Confidence grows from these repeated small acts of courage that demonstrate safety to your nervous system. It's not about giant leaps. It's about consistent, manageable steps.
That feels much more doable, less
Mhm.
overwhelming.
Ah,
Okay, so let's get practical. What are some strategies people can actually use to start building this self-trust through safe repetition?
Well, first things first, grounding the nervous system. Like we said, when anxiety or self-doubt flares up, your body goes into a stress response. Grounding helps bring you back to the present, calms the physiology.
Which lets the thinking brain work better.
Right. Simple things work wonders. Hand on your chest, hand on your belly, just feeling your breath, slowing it down,
Okay,
or pressing your feet firmly into the floor. Really feel the ground supporting you. That physical connection can be very centering.
simple. What else?
Splashing cold water on your face sounds odd maybe, but it stimulates the vagus nerve, which helps regulate the nervous system. It can be a quick reset.
Interesting. Like a physiological pattern interrupt.
Kind of, yeah. Or even using something comforting, like a weighted lap pad if you're sitting, or a soft scarf. Anything that provides a sense of physical containment and safety. A calm body is the foundation for confidence to grow.
Those are great tangible tools.
Yeah.
What's next? How do we deal with that inner voice?
Ah, the inner critic. Yeah, that's a big one. Reframing the inner dialogue is crucial. Recognizing that critical voice, often it's not even originally yours, it's internalized messages from the past.
From parents, teachers, society.
All of the above. The key is to start noticing it without automatically believing it, and then gently, consciously start offering a different perspective.
Like how? Give me an example.
Okay, so the critic says you'll never be good enough for this. Instead of just accepting that, you could try countering with something like, I'm allowed to learn and grow at my own pace, or my worth isn't actually determined by this outcome.
So not necessarily arguing with it, but offering an alternative.
Exactly, a more compassionate, realistic alternative. Think of it like updating your internal software, speaking to yourself with the kindness you'd offer a friend who is struggling. It takes practice, but it makes a huge difference.
That self-compassion piece feels really central. You also mentioned reparenting the wounded self. That sounds deep. What does that involve?
It is deep, but also very practical. It's about consciously giving yourself now what you might have needed but didn't get consistently back then: safety, validation, understanding, encouragement.
So if you felt criticized as a kid, you learn to offer yourself encouragement now.
Precisely. You ask yourself, what does that younger part of me, the one who felt scared or inadequate, actually need right now? Maybe it needs to hear, it's okay to make mistakes, or you're allowed to have needs.
How do you do that in practice?
It can be through journaling, visualization, picturing your younger self, and offering comfort. It can be through setting firm boundaries in your adult life that protect your energy and well-being. It could be through affirmations that directly counter old negative beliefs, or creating small rituals that feel nurturing and safe.
So you're tending to the roots, essentially.
Yes, you're tending to the roots to strengthen the whole plant. It builds that fundamental sense of self-worth that confidence rests upon.
Okay. What about goals? We often think of achieving goals as building confidence.
It can, but the type of goal matters. I advocate for creating micro goals based on your personal values, not just external achievements someone else might applaud.
What do you mean by value-based micro goals?
Well, say one of your core values is creativity. Instead of a huge goal like write a novel, a micro goal could be write one sentence today, or just open the document.
Ah, super small.
Yes, if connection is a value, maybe text one friend I haven't spoken to in a while. If speaking your truth is important, share one brief thought in the meeting. These tiny actions align with what you deem important.
And doing them proves something to yourself.
It proves you can trust yourself to show up for what matters to you, even in small ways. That builds authentic self-trust, which is the core of confidence. It's not about the size of the accomplishment, but the alignment with your values and the act of following through for yourself.
I like that. It takes the pressure off massive achievements. You also mentioned safe embodiment. What's that about?
Right. So sometimes, especially after difficult experiences or trauma, we can disconnect from our bodies. It feels safer to live in our heads. But confidence is felt in the body. It's a sense of presence, groundedness.
So embodiment is about reconnecting
Yeah.
safely.
Yes, gently. Finding ways to feel present in your physical self without feeling overwhelmed. It's not about forcing yourself into intense physical experiences if that feels unsafe.
What are some gentle ways to practice?
Could be as simple as putting on a song you love and just letting your body move naturally, slowly, whatever feels good, no judgment.
Okay.
Or just lying down and really noticing the contact points between your body and the floor or bed. Feeling that support. Gentle yoga, somatic practices, breath work. But the focus is on feeling, sensing, not on achieving a pose or fixing anything.
So making peace with being in your body.
Becoming partners with your body again. It holds so much wisdom and resilience. Reconnecting helps you feel more whole, more grounded, which supports confidence.
That makes sense. And the last strategy was mindful reflection. How does observing help?
It's about bringing non-judgmental awareness to your patterns. When you can observe your thoughts, feelings, and reactions around confidence without immediately criticizing yourself, you start to understand them better.
Seeing the patterns clearly.
Yes, journaling can be great here, asking yourself things like, what am I really afraid might happen if I trust myself more? Or whose critical voice am I actually hearing inside my head right now?
Digging a little deeper.
Or even noticing the positive. What's one moment, however small, where I felt capable or proud this week? It's not about endless analysis. It's about connecting with yourself, understanding your own landscape, and consciously choosing to build a new, more empowering narrative.
Okay, those are some really powerful strategies. Grounding, reframing, reparenting, micro goals, embodiment, reflection. Lots to work with.
Definitely. Building blocks.
Let's shift to some common questions people have, FAQs, if you will.
Yeah.
One big one is, why do I feel confident in some areas but totally lost in others?
Yes. The context question. It comes back to what we discussed earlier. Confidence is often domain-specific. It's not usually a global trait.
So good at work, nervous in relationships maybe?
Exactly. It depends heavily on your past experiences in that specific area. Where have you had success? Where have you felt safe? Where have you experienced setbacks or felt judged? Your confidence level in playing the piano will likely be different from your confidence in navigating a difficult conversation based on your history with each.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's not that you're just not a confident person.
Right, it's more nuanced. Another big question is about trauma's impact. Does past trauma really affect current confidence?
We touched on this, but it's worth revisiting.
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is a clear yes. Trauma, as we said, can wire the brain for threat detection. It creates a bias towards seeing danger, fearing vulnerability, anticipating negative outcomes. This directly undermines the sense of safety needed for confidence. Healing that trauma is often a key part of the confidence journey for many people.
In reparenting, can you quickly define that again and link it directly to confidence?
Sure. Reparenting is consciously giving yourself the emotional support, validation, and boundaries you needed, but perhaps didn't get consistently in childhood. It directly builds confidence by repairing the foundation of your self-worth. When you learn to soothe your own anxieties, validate your own feelings, and protect your own energy, you build that internal security that is confidence.
Got it. Okay, the timeline question. How long does this take? Everyone wants to know.
Understandably. But honestly, there's no stopwatch on this. It's a process, unique to each person. It depends on your starting point, your history, the consistency of your practice. The focus shouldn't be on speed, but on noticing and celebrating the small shifts, the micro wins along the way. Progress over perfection, always.
Good reminder. What about the inner critic?
Yeah.
Can we ever truly silence it?
Maybe not silence it completely for everyone, but you can definitely change your relationship with it. You can learn to recognize it, not automatically believe it, and turn down its volume.
How?
Through practice reframing, self-compassion. You build up a stronger, kinder inner voice, your own inner ally. That voice becomes louder and more influential than the critic over time. You learn to choose which voice you listen to.
So it loses its power. And last, FAQ. For someone who feels really unsafe in their body, how do they even start with embodiment?
Very, very gently. Start incredibly small. Maybe just noticing the feeling of your feet on the floor for 5 seconds, or the feeling of your breath in your nostrils. Focus on tiny moments of neutral or pleasant sensation.
Nothing overwhelming.
Absolutely not. Prioritize safety above all else. Gentle stretching, slow movement if it feels okay. And honestly, working with a trauma-informed therapist or practitioner can be incredibly helpful here. They can guide you safely.
That's really crucial advice. Start small, prioritize safety, get support if needed.
Definitely.
Okay. We've covered so much ground, from the roots of confidence to brain science to practical strategies and common questions. As we wrap up this deep dive, what's a final thought you want to leave people with?
I think it's important to remember that real confidence isn't about being fearless or perfect. It's much more about developing a steady, trusting relationship with your own inner voice.
And being willing to show up for yourself.
Exactly. Showing up with kindness, especially when things feel hard or uncertain, it's about that inner alliance.
That feels really grounding.
And that self-trust, that's the real foundation. It's built slowly, brick by brick, with those small acts of courage, those healthy boundaries, that consistent inner kindness.
You are not too late. You are not too much. And you are definitely not alone in this. So maybe consider this. What one small act of self-trust, however tiny, can you offer yourself today?
A powerful question to sit with.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.